The Gender Studies and Human Rights Documentation Center, Gender Center, was established in 1995 to respond to the need for evidence-based advocacy in the promotion and protection of women's rights. The organization was founded by Ikea Kwinyehia, Dorcas Coker Appiah, Emilia Ejepong, and Joanna Foster.
In fact, my colleague directors and myself were already in the gender activities. We were doing human rights, work programs. But we realized that, in fact, we were just scratching, on the surface because we didn't have the information, the data, and everything to help us with the work we were doing.
We realized it was important to have a documentation center, not just for us, but for other people to access.
So we felt that, we need to go around the country to have research, to be able to get, figures and the causes of this violence against women.
The findings set the tone for the work that has been going on over the years on violence against women.
The Gender Center is guided by the following core values: respect for the fundamental rights of all persons, including women, and the recognition of the inalienability, indivisibility, and interdependence of human rights, promotion and enhancement of opportunities for gender equality and empowerment, creation of an enabling environment that supports and nurtures individual and collective development, and commitment to accurate knowledge transfer and information sharing. In 1998, the Gender Center undertook a nationwide study on violence against women and children in Ghana in order to address the lack of comprehensive data on the issue and to begin work at responsive intervention strategies to deal with violence against women and girls in Ghana. The findings of the research revealed the need for multiple strategies, including law reform, to address violence against women as a human rights issue. The publication of the research report galvanized action by women's rights organizations for the passage of a comprehensive law to address violence against women. In introducing the draft Domestic Violence Bill in 2001, the then Attorney General stated that the research findings of the Gender Center made it imperative to pass comprehensive legislation to address the canker of violence against women. This bill was finally passed as an act in 2007 as the Domestic Violence Act 732 after 6 years of activism by a coalition of women's rights organizations, of which the Gender Center was a key member.
WorldAv Ghana has a special place in its heart for Gender Center because Gender Center has been part and parcel of our growth as WorldAv Ghana. We recognize them for their groundbreaking research on violence against women and children in Ghana, which has led to very exciting things for the country, including passage of the Domestic Violence Act. We also highly commend the Gender Center for its research on HIV/AIDS and its gender implications. It's opened our eyes to many things that we didn't know before that affects women in all parts of the country with respect to relationships we have and how AIDS impacts on our lives.
The research findings were also used to develop the Inchinchim Anti-Violence Project, aimed at addressing the recommendations and some of the key findings. The project activities included community awareness raising campaigns, service for women and children, and training programs aimed at increasing the capacity of project partners, state agencies, including the police, health service staff, and social workers, civil society organizations, and individuals to be able to respond to reported and suspected cases of violence against women and children. The project was implemented in 18 communities through the establishment of community-based anti-violence teams, otherwise known as COMBAT, in the Wa District in the Upper West Region, Boku West District in the Upper East Region, Etrima Imponua and Etrima Kwauma districts in the Ashanti Region, and Kwaibibrim District in the Eastern Region. These teams provide support to abused persons, particularly women and children.
The project basically was to promote the rights and status and respect of the women in the project area. Teams were taken through a lot of capacity building programs like alternative dispute resolution training, like counseling skills training. They were also given an in-depth training on violence against women and women's rights.
Members na kurano anase form team no ebra na dwumadi ni ma na nema biru ane ya ne nim se etia ebi ne se ebi ya wono oyere kura te ho bi amakofu maba oba ebi kura oyare enso so na wo hye ne se wonko eja ho wabra wo be ma no se kwa akoja no ho bia na nka ebeboa enti dwumadi ba ye no kwasem ni aboa ama aniema akoso ewo yekrodua yimu
na mini me kunu ye adwuma no ye adwuma na sika no ba mi hu de papa ndi sika no ebeye akohoma kura o mo me ne mema bi me kwaka na wato ahya me so no waboro me kutimi bu me saa ma chese me ni ba kutimi kata me kuru de wode me fa titi ye mu pa di brent e kire no ebe kurom ya sei no na me ni papa ni nyina ye de ye hu wura enkyekire ni mu na wono ankasa wa TB e wona sum ma me sum TB ma fe de wono hu se de wode ye me ni nyina no se ebeduru ba bi no okoso aye me saa de na obetimi anya asem ama papa no ene de nyankopon aye madum ama nkyekye no so adaworo combat adaworo ma ene de minimi kunu aye ba ko a yetimi ye adwuma enye sika me ametimi se sika no sika sei ene yenya bra adwuma sei ne sika no aye ye adwuma na otimi che sika no ade bi kura ma me se ma mejiwe ato ho nti ahoto aye de aba.
My wife, I asked my wife what we will eat. Meanwhile, she's occupied in the salon. She's doing her hair. And so if I want to wait for her to come, we'll have to eat in the night. And I don't like that. It is not degrading at all. It is not degrading to do this type of thing to assist your wife. This will happen when there is peace, cordiality, and love, understanding in the house.
The project has brought many changes to our community. For instance, it was difficult for a man to go out and buy salt, flour, or any cooking ingredient for the home, but now they are doing it. To us as women, this is the most wonderful achievement of this project.
I came to Papasi not quite long, but for the short time that I've been in Papasi, one thing I've realized is almost the whole town is aware of the project they are doing here about domestic violence, HIV, AIDS, and all that. And according to history that I've learned about this town, it's now on the descendancy. So we are trusting the Lord that it will go on so that domestic violence, HIV, AIDS, and other menaces will be out of place.
Our anti-violence work is not only implemented in communities, but has also been expanded to reduce school-related gender-based violence.
When the teacher is not there, I try to call my classmates, talk to them about what I learned. And even the handout given to me, I've tried to give some out to some of my people to learn so that they also help me when the needs arise.
In our work in addressing violence against women, it became clear that violence was linked to women's low status in many areas. This led us in 2006 to conduct yet another study to establish if violence and or other social factors had any links to women's vulnerability to HIV and AIDS in view of the increasing high prevalence of HIV and AIDS among women. The study findings clearly established the link between violence and gender norms to women's infection rate. The study findings have been the main advocacy tool for engendering the 2011-2015 National Strategic Plan of the Ghana AIDS Commission. The study findings were also used to develop and implement a project reducing women's susceptibility to HIV infection as a result of gender inequality in Ghana. The project is currently being implemented in 3 districts, which are KJB, New Juabeng, and Wa East.
Gender Center has been so wonderful in this area. They have organized training for partners, myself and my other colleagues from ProLink. We have been attending partners meeting to update the progress, some of the progress and our achievement. So in terms of partners capacity building, in the short time we have come across them, theirs have been so different.
Embedded in our project's design and implementation are the use of community structures for effective implementation. This includes the training of community-based teams who carry out regular and sustained educational programs on violence, women's rights, HIV and AIDS, and family laws in their communities as well as surrounding ones. We also work closely with traditional and religious leaders to ensure support for the project. Networking and coalition building is one of the strategies that the Gender Center employs in its work. Over the years in our anti-violence work, we have worked with organizations such as Action Aid, Builder, SEDEP, Amasachina, General Agricultural Workers Union, Mata Ntudu, and the Trades Union Congress during the research and project implementation phases. We are also currently working with ProLink, Rural Watch, and Amasachina, as well as a number of community-based organizations on our HIV projects.
Amasachina Self-Help Association came into partnership with the Gender Center somewhere 1999. Some specific agencies that are dealing in areas of violence or domestic violence were the target of their research, and this includes the Ghana Health Service. So their records were reviewed. The Ghana Police Service, their records were reviewed. Department of Social Welfare had their records reviewed, and the various district courts. So when we started these projects, all these organizations, all these state agencies were brought on board. And before the inception of this project, they were dealing with cases without wearing gender lens. Most of the cases that were being responded to were haphazardly done. People were not given audience. They had their own way of interpreting things. This did not go well with they themselves, which they will confirm. When we started with the trainings, they saw the need to change their own attitude and perceptions about violence, especially against women and children. So to date, we have been working very well with all these agencies. And the relationship between the various state agencies and the assemblies is very cordial and purposeful. For we have all been able to achieve a goal, and that is in reducing domestic violence in our respective communities, especially that of violence against women and children.
The Gender Center has been a partner organization to the Art Foundation for many years because we believe in the same values, we share the same vision about women's rights in Ghana and protection of the rights, human rights of people generally. So we have worked with them on many fronts. We participated in many of their activities. They have also participated in ours.
Our main objective in working with partners is to ensure, first and foremost, that we pass on our expertise to our partners, thereby building their capacity to be able to work in their communities and ensure wider dissemination of information. We are also currently partnering with WILDAF, FIDA, and the Hunger Project to implement another project titled We Know Politics, a project aimed at increasing women's participation in Ghana's politics and decision-making processes. The center is also noted for its publications, which have served as sources of references, information, and education for NGOs, students, community members, and the general public. These include the role of gender norms and domestic violence in increasing women and girls' vulnerability to HIV/AIDS, 2009, The Architecture for Violence Against Women, 2009, and Breaking the Silence and Challenging the Myths Around Violence Against Women and Children in Ghana, 2009. From a humble beginning of 3 staff members, the Gender Center today has 7 key staff with backgrounds in finance, rural development, and project management, as well as 2 supporting.
Joining the Gender Center has been very, very interesting, and it's really impacted my life. I'm able to train because of the knowledge I've gotten here.
My work with the Gender Center has educated me so much to the extent that now I know that violence goes beyond the physical aspect, but there are emotional and cultural violence.
Joining the Gender Center has given me a deeper opportunity of improving my gender mainstreaming advocacy skills.
What gives me joy in the work we do is hearing women's testimonies about the impact of our work in their lives.
Yes. The last 15 years have not come without challenges. We have had very few staff, inadequate resources, but with commitment and dedication of our staff, as well as using innovative strategies, we've come this far. We could not have done this without the support of our donors and other partners, and we want to thank them. We hope that we can continue to count on their support so that we achieve what we hope to achieve in the years.
I could have stopped breathing if you told me to. You say me want no other game. Never meant it in my goma. Benjamin so. Nara hukum sun sun. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Cause some of me got you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.